Yeah, in case you didn't quite catch that, that's a man who identifies as a dog. Welcome to the Rawk Rant. I'm Ryan King. So for our first episode back from a pretty long hiatus, we're delving into a nice, easy topic, and one that won't ruffle too many feathers, hopefully. And of course, I'm talking about transgender ideology. Yeah, probably won't get too many arguments going with this one, so we'll see what happens. So although the main subject is trans ideology, there are many subchapters of this fun little novel we're about to devour. Pronouns being one, and all the fun stuff associated with those, and what or who people identify as, transgenders competing in pro sports, and trans ideology and sexuality being forced onto children, and I'm talking young children. So the plan was to touch on all of this stuff in this one episode until I started gathering content from the internet, and then realized if we did it all in this one episode, the thing would probably be like 3 hours long. So we're going to do a twofer. We're going to split it up into 2 episodes. The first one, this one here, we're going to touch on the pronouns and being misgendered, different reactions from people being misgendered in public, things like that. Part 2, we'll get into the transgender people competing in pro sports, and the subject that really hits a nerve with me personally, all of this trans ideology being just crammed down our kids' throats when they're way too young, a lot of these kids. Talking kindergarten and even younger than that in a lot of cases. So strap in or get your strap on, whatever you got to do, whatever blows your hair back, and let's dive into the wide world of pronouns.
Hi, I'm Cody. I primarily go by E, M, or Z's on pronouns, but I'm comfortable being referred to using any neo-pronouns that are not Z here. And a little bit about who I am. I am a white, transmasculine, femme, non-binary, disabled, neurodivergent, obsessive-compulsive, chronically ill, Unitarian Universalist, raised Jewish, non-monogamous, demi-low romantic, gray demi-bisexual, survivor of acute and complex trauma, millennial, and cat parent in mental health.
Well, all right. Did you catch all that? So, seems pretty simple and straightforward, right? Geez, if only there was an instructional video or something like that to help explain it all.
Tips on how you can be a better intersex ally. When it comes to inclusive language, oftentimes people tend to use phrases like people with penises or people with vaginas rather than saying male and female or men and women. While this can absolutely be inclusive for trans people, unfortunately it's not always the most inclusive language for intersex people. My advice is to use language that focuses on function and not just form. That means focusing on the actual function that you're talking about, such as people who can get pregnant, people who can get other people pregnant, people who are at risk of testicular cancer, and so on and so forth. This is much more inclusive because there are intersex people who are born with a vagina but don't have a uterus or ovaries or an ability to menstruate. This is because some people that are born with a penis don't have testes. So it's much more inclusive to say what you actually mean than it is to use language that works around that.
Thanks so much for clearing all that up for us, ma'am or sir, or I'm already in trouble. Yeah, I just don't get it. Still don't get it. I think I'm actually more confused now. Anyone else?
When people talk about gender being a spectrum, most probably picture a line with male on one end and female on the other and non-binary in the middle.
Yep, you hit the nail on the head there. When I think of the gender spectrum, that's exactly the way I think of it. Maybe if we had a chart of some kind, like a visual aid kind of thing, help break it down a little bit.
But I think a better representation of the spectrum is a triangle with the binary genders, male and female up there, non-binary genders over there, and agender over here, and most people are going to fall somewhere within this triangle. The prefix pan means, in brief, all. So a pangender person, instead of being inside of this triangle, ends up being a circle around.
Everybody get all that? You good? You on the same page? Good. Okay. I don't know. Maybe it's just being made out to be a little more complicated than it really needs to be. But in any case, who wants to learn about some pronouns?
Hi, I'm Ash, and I'm throwing a gender tea party where we try on different pronouns and honorifics to see how they feel. Today I'm introducing a friend who uses they, them pronouns. My friend is so cool to come to my party. It's so exciting to get to know them better. They are drinking an Irish breakfast tea, which I've heard is their favorite. If you want to get them a refill, the pink cup is theirs. I love their outfit. They didn't have to dress themselves up for this, but they look great. Day requested this pronoun set, and I'm so glad Day did. If you liked it, you can thank Dem in the comments. They should be proud of themselves for trying on new pronouns. I know I'm proud of them.
Anybody else here speech impediment, and maybe not so much pronouns as I'm not even trying to be funny. Like if I heard someone talking like that in public, I would legit think they had some kind of a speech impediment, and I'd feel bad for them, seriously. So, I don't know. This is the deal now with all these pronouns. People quite literally are rewriting and redefining the English language as we know it. Whether the majority of us likes it or not, that's what's happening. There wasn't any vote. There's not a discussion where we could chime in and voice our opinion about whether we think it's a good idea or not. It simply just is. That's just the way it is. Say anything negative about it and you're transphobic or you're homophobic or a racist or a white supremacist. Remember the days back when like using those kinds of words and describing something as being a white supremacist or a transphobic or a homophobic? Remember when that was like a big deal? It was a bold statement. Remember how shocking it was to hear somebody say something like that? Nowadays, though, it's just like hearing somebody say that Trump is like Hitler for the 50 millionth time. It just doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't mean as much because it's used all the time. It's used so freely, it loses all of its weight and it loses all of its pizzazz. It doesn't mean anything anymore. So, all right, enough ranting. More pronouns, please.
I'm Jax, and I just came up with new neo-pronouns that combine he, him, she, her, and they, them, okay? So hear me out. They, them, theirs, okay? They, them, their, whatever you want to consider it, right? Let's take the first one, the, okay? This combines she, he, and they, right? They, the. That's what they said, you know? That's what they said. Next, we got them, right? Okay, so them, we got, that's just combining them and him. Them, you know? I went to a movie with them the other night. Last one, theirs, okay? It's just like theirs, but like also like hers. Theirs. That jacket's theirs. Yes, this just sounds like they, them pronouns, but with the new ultra-scientific method, we have them so they've combined he and she as well. Everybody gets you with the, them, theirs today, yeah?
Ah, the ultra-scientific method. Yep, sounds pretty ultra-scientific-y to me. All right, when it comes to pronouns and the social media personalities known for creating them, most of them fail in comparison to this next gal. They don't even hold a candle to her. You've probably seen her at some point, but just in case you haven't, allow me now to introduce you to lesbian Snow White, aka the pronoun gal. Hang on to your hat.
Use Starburst, Roar's pronoun, Mingles, Beep, Boop, Bass, Jasper, Bites pronouns, Rocks pronouns, Pups pronouns, and Lila, Things, Maples, Hummingbird pronoun, Lorax pronouns.
You know, it's easy for most of us to laugh at this kind of shit, but it all tends to be less funny when it occurs to you that this chick is serious. I mean, she's not joking at all. The other thing that's super not funny about this is she's created this character specifically to lure young kids into watching her videos, and it works. Think about it. Kids of all ages, even the super young ones now, they've all got cell phones. They're all over TikTok and social media. It's just the world we live in now. So she's like the Mr. Rogers of TikTok. And little kids can't resist but binge watch all of her videos online, and there's a ton of them. So like it or not, she's teaching our kids and even attempting to teach some of the kids' teachers to teach the kids that all this stuff is of the highest importance for them to know. And they got to believe in it and practice it in their daily lives. Here's just a small taste of some of the stuff she's teaching our kids.
Hello friends, it's a lesbian Snow White here, aka the pronoun gal, and I'm here to tell you how to use they, them pronouns in new sentences. So let's go! Oh gosh, and please remember that even if you haven't heard of they, them pronouns, it doesn't mean that they don't exist. It just means that you haven't heard of them. But here I am to teach you. So come along with me, and together we can make the world a much better and safer place. Their name is Daphne. Did you know they love going to the movies? Also, their favorite snack is dark chocolate. I think you would be great friends with them. They typically go to the movies by themselves, but I'm sure they would love to go with you. And please let me know how you like these new sentences. Listen up, teachers, because this is how to introduce a student who uses they, she, he pronouns. Y'all love to tell your students to never stop learning, so the same applies to you, gosh darn it. Now let's learn how to make our students feel comfortable. Listen up, students, we have a new classmate. They requested that I announce that their pronouns are they, he, she. Please remember to use these pronouns and only these pronouns while referring to him. We need to create a safe space for her, just as we would for everyone else. Their name is Rocky, and he is such a wonderful person. Please take the time to get to know her today, and then tomorrow we will announce one thing that we appreciate about Rocky. Listen up, teachers, because this is how to introduce a student who uses Spring's pronouns. Listen up, class, we have a new student. Spring requested that I announce Spring's pronouns, which are Springs. Aren't they awesome? This is how you're going to introduce a student who uses Echo pronouns. Listen up, class, because we have a new student. Ek requested that I announce Echo's pronouns, which are Echo. Please make sure to use these pronouns and only these pronouns while referring to Echo. We need to create a safe space for Echo just as we would for everyone else. Oh my gosh, are you a parent? Do you have a child that uses she, it pronouns, but you don't know how to introduce them? Well, here I am to show you how. So let's go. Oh dear, and please remember that even if you haven't heard of she, it pronouns, it doesn't mean that they don't exist. It just means that you haven't heard of them. But here I am to teach you, so please come along with me, and together we can make the world a much better and safer place. This is June. She uses she, it pronouns. This means you have to use both pronouns interchangeably, not just one. Please respect my child and use its pronouns. We love her very much, so we are going to be using these pronouns from now on while referring to it. If you need help navigating how to use her pronouns, go check out @LesbianSnowWhite on TikTok. I hear that gal is pretty cool.
Yeah, well, we finally agree on one thing. She, it pronouns. I agree. These pronouns are definitely she, it. And I also agree that using them together is the only way that it works properly, you know. She, it. She, it. Anyway, okay.
It's the Lesbian Snow White here, aka the Pronoun Gal, and today I'm going to show you how to use rats, pronouns, and sentences, so let's go! Rats? Like ratatouille? No, these are just neo-pronouns, and I understand how that can be confusing because, you know, you've never heard of them. Rat is such a great person. Rat's smile is so contagious. In fact, I saw Rat make a whole audience smile. I think Rat should be very proud of Rat's self.
Okay, seriously though, Spring, Echo, how could anyone ever be expected to even pretend to play along with all of that? Like, seriously. If Einstein was alive, I don't think he could even keep up with it all. If every single person you came across during your day had like different words that you're required to know and remember to address them as, and if not, you're a transphobic stupid head. I mean, could you imagine? And that's where we're headed, guys. That's really where we're headed. Good God. Okay, now on to one of my favorite parts. I recently learned that not only can you be whoever or whatever you decide you want to be, without that whole pesky reality thing getting in your way, but you've also got the power to be multiple people, things, genders, whatever, all at the same time. And if you've got magical powers like this next dude or chick or whatever, you can switch them all out right at will, one right after another, just back and forth, right in front of people's eyes. Now, keep in mind, this is not an act. This is not fake. Not fake at all. It's simply put, transgender magic. Not black magic, but rainbow magic, if you will. Take a look.
Hi everybody, it's your friendly female alter art, and in today's video we will be switching. Me and Alex will be switching out who is in front in this video. Now, just as a disclaimer, every system is going to switch differently, and every switch in every system is going to look differently. Just because me and Alex can switch very fast does not mean every alter in our system can switch this fast. Please give us a like because I know we're going to get called fake for this. Alright, here goes.
Hey everyone, it's Alex from the A system. The reason me and Art can switch so quickly is because we've been in the system the longest. We've both been in the system since early childhood. We have switched tens of thousands of times. Not all the switches in our system are that smooth. For example, the switch between me and Asher is a lot longer than that. Thank you.
I just know people are going to say this is fake. Nah, why would anyone say such a thing? I mean, I think my favorite part is how he keeps explaining why it looks so easy with him and his other self. Like, they're just professionals. Don't try this at home, kids. It's not always this easy. Sometimes it, gets a little messy. We got this shit down because we've practiced so hard to perfect the art of changing personalities right before your very eyes. I'm sorry, this is not transgenderism. This is more like schizo multiple personality disorder or something like that, maybe disguised as transgenderism, hiding in plain sight. But since Jim Carrey decided to retire, if they ever decide to make a Me, Myself, and Irene sequel, this guy's bound to get the call. He's got that going for him. But anyway, so we've learned a lot about pronouns, how this all works. But did you know that you can be anything you want to be? Sincerely, you could be anything you want to be. When I was being brought up in the 80s, my parents were awesome. And they'd tell me that too. They'd say, you can be anything that you want to be. All you had to do is work hard, bust your ass, never give up, believe in yourself, and you could be anything that you want to be. And it's a great lesson for parents to teach their kids. I've taught my 3 kids the same exact thing. But there's a fine line between working hard to eventually do what you want to do and be who you want to be in life, and trying to convince the rest of the world that you're something simply just because you say you are. Apparently, you can identify as anything you want to. There are no rules. Sky's the limit. And the best part, you don't have to work hard. Hell, you don't have to work at all. All you got to do is just tell them that that's what you are, and that's it. And they better go along with it, because otherwise they'll be canceled or attacked or called transphobic, racist, or a white supremacist, whatever. I mean, let's take a look and see what some of these fine folks are identifying as these days.
You still identify as a baby or a toddler, that's totally okay.
I've gone back to being a child. I don't want to be an adult right now.
It says pronouns. Today I'm going to show you how to use zombies pronouns, spores pronouns, camels pronouns, and sentences.
So God, the reason why I use it is because as an agender person, I don't have a gender. So it's like I'm existing and I'm not existing at the same time. God, right?
Is Merrin. She fell in love with James.
I'm a masculine presenting plumber.
And I'm a feminine presenting straight man.
So happy to have transitioned from British to Korean. I'm now going to be identical to Jimin, even more identical than I already was.
On all levels except physical, I am a wolf.
The earth looks flat. It is not. I look like a man. I'm not one.
Yep, whatever you want to be, just say it, and presto, that's what you are. A completely different nationality, a wolf, a baby, or a toddler. I'm kind of getting tired of adulting, too. Maybe I'll just go back to being a 12-year-old, you know? I mean, what the hell? Hell, even God, if that's your thing. You can identify as God, sure. So this brings us to the fun part. Not only is all of this a thing, and everybody can be whatever or whoever they want to be, but everyone else is expected to play along. That's the thing. What happens when these fine specimens come across someone who doesn't want to play along? Or maybe they just legitimately don't understand any of it. The simple answer? Anything goes. The only response you shouldn't expect to see is one that's polite, respectful, or maybe understanding, because that's not going to happen. Because after all, nothing in this world could be more important than being absolutely certain to call someone by exactly what they've chosen to be called. Whether you're aware of it or not, that's besides the point.
Alright, thanks. He's helping me. Faye. Oh yeah, he's just gone to go and get me. Faye. I can't remember who served us. I think it was him.
I have this one coworker who simply refuses to use the correct pronouns for me. I've called her out every time she misgenders me, and she just is resigned to not change. And today just broke something in me. I just snapped. I ended up yelling at her after the 3rd time she misgendered me, and within like 30 minutes, like, I use they, them pronouns. My boss, who claims to be so woke and like happy and joyous and making a safe, positive environment for everybody, gangs up on me with her and says, like, Carson, like, shut up, this is not the time for a political statement. And I was upset, rightfully so, but was trying to take such a level-headed approach to it of like, this is not a political statement. My identity is not a political statement. It's just my identity. All I'm asking you to do is respect that. And it really is within our own community that people have the most rampant transphobia. It's so frustrating because then my boss spins it around as like, I'm the one who's making a scene.
You are making a scene, Carson. I mean, maybe if you put as much effort into your job as you do playing victim because someone mistakenly says ma'am instead of sir, maybe you'd be the boss by now. Look, you could call yourself a dude all you want. I see and I hear a whiny girl with short hair and a ball cap. That's what most people, I think, would probably see and hear. It doesn't make people transphobic when they're used to depending on their senses to identify somebody rather than going against their senses based on what you tell them that you are. I'd be willing to bet that in most cases, people aren't going out of their way to call you something that you don't want to be called. It's more likely that they've just got more important things to worry about, man. People are busy. They got their own stuff going on. Like doing their job, for one thing. Since, they are at work after all. Now, maybe you ought to take a few notes from them. If you want to be a dude so bad, here's a little free advice. Toughen up a little bit. Knock the crying off. It's not very manly, I'm just saying, if that's what you're trying to be. Anyone else mad about being called a girl?
I have a serious fucking question, okay? What about this outfit and this person screams woman? How do I keep getting this gendered?
So your family thinks they're gonna get away with dead naming you and misgendering you this holiday season? No, they're not. You know why? Because you're deranged kazoo kid. You play a wind instrument. You take your mouthpiece and you just... anytime the wrong pronouns or the wrong name comes out, and you be obnoxious as shit. Because they'll stop real quick.
I will not stand up for this.
For other people having ideas that disagree with you? Are your ideas so fragile that you can't stand if someone disagrees with you? I'm serious.
I know. Even if you're right and she's wrong, she has a right to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like...
If my ideas are so...
The Nazis have a right to speak when they are wrong and I am right.
If my ideas
when
are
they
so
grounded
bad... Hey,
people
stop
like
yelling.
me up
Stop
and threw
yelling.
us in concentration camps.
No one is talking. Do not yell at me, sir. That's rude.
Okay, we need to go. You cannot call her sir.
Oh my God. Yes, it's just like being rounded up and thrown into a concentration camp. Same exact thing. Good Lord, it's like kids throwing a temper tantrum, except with people who are supposed to be grown. Not for nothing, but this is what happens when you're not allowed to discipline your kids. This is what happens. They don't get their way, they throw a fit. That's why, at least most of the time, you don't see my generation or generations before me acting like that. It doesn't happen. Moving on, there's nothing quite like someone completely losing their shit on someone who's just trying to work and do their job, who makes an honest mistake and calls them sir or ma'am, not realizing that they're pretending to be someone different. Not everybody notices that you're dressed different than your gender. Not everyone has time to play make-believe land with you. It's just, people got things to do. Some people are just trying to get through their workday, and it's hard enough without this kind of nonsense.
I look like a girl.
I do not understand.
You don't? Do I look like a boy or a girl? Me.
I think you're a boy.
No, I'm a girl.
Okay.
Okay. What do you think you look like?
Sorry.
No. Just ugly.
Okay.
Here, you could actually have my pizza. Do you like those? Yeah. He's so mean I'm not eating his pizza, so you should have it.
Oh, yeah?
Fuck him. You enjoy your pizza.
Thank you.
Bye. Look at him. He's so mean. Do I look like a boy or girl? He's telling me I'm a man. Come on. It doesn't take rocket science. He thinks it's funny. Right? It doesn't take rocket science to figure it out.
No.
Thank you. Enjoy your pizza. Bye. Bye. I'm just telling you, you have to be more respectful.
Yeah, you are not.
You're not embarrassed to be ignorant and rude?
I am not good English.
I don't buy that for a minute. I think you speak English just fine, my love. Because you understood every other sentence we had.
Great.
Okay, bye. Educate yourself.
You know, I want a pizza. What?
You know, I would never eat your pizza. In a million years, you're so rude. How are you gonna tell me I'm a man in a purse and long hair and nails? Asking, well, what are your pronouns? What do you think pronouns are? Take a guess. Take a guess.
Come on, dude. Give me a break. The dude clearly isn't from here. He barely speaks English, and you got the nerve to call him ignorant and rude? He's smiling because he's amused. Because trust me, this is all new to him. I'm betting that he never saw anything quite like this back home, if you know what I mean. Like, these people, they can't stand it when they're not the most important thing in the room. That's the problem. They want attention, just like a screaming little kid. You noticing the trend there yet, by the way? Screaming little kid. I mean, that's what it is. They're screaming little kids that don't get their way. Here's another lovely young lady completely losing her shit in a public store and cussing like a sailor in front of kids that are out with their parents. He's lucky it's these parents that were there and not me. I don't think I'd have been quite as understanding. Take a look.
No, we're not doing credit. You're going to give me my fucking money back.
Excuse me, sir. There's a young man in here.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
I can call the police if you'd like me to. You need to settle down.
You need to settle down and mind your business, okay? Ma'am, once again, ma'am.
I said both of you.
No, you said sir. Once again, it's ma'am.
I actually said both of you guys. It was a general.
Right beforehand, you fucking said sir.
Sir? Okay.
Motherfucker, take it outside. If you want to call me sir again, I will show you a fucking sir.
I apologize.
Motherfucker.
I apologize now.
Don't call me sir. It's ma'am. How the hell? Don't call me sir. It's ma'am. How the hell can you expect anyone to address you as a lady when you're all, motherfucker, you want to go outside? I'll show you a sir. It's ma'am. Call me sir again, motherfucker. Oh, my God. Here's a tip. If you want to be addressed as ma'am, try acting a little bit more ladylike. Hey, that's kind of common sense, don't you think? Because the voice and the whole He-Man hairdo.
And the masters of the universe.
I think that's enough to confuse anybody. This fella could also act a little bit more ladylike right here.
Be mindful of other people and stop being a fucking scumbag, and you're a liar. I heard you. Stop fucking gaslighting trans people. Wait, what? Did you call me sir again? What was that? You said goodnight, sir? Alex, I'm gonna be talking to corporate about you, you motherfucker. Fuck you. Okay? That's bullshit. You don't fucking harass trans people at work. Yeah, you did. And I'm walking out and you're like, have a good night, sir? What the fuck is that? No, you don't fucking do this to trans people. This is discrimination.
I didn't say
No, this is discrimination. I'm fucking done with it. You called me sir, and you're talking shit calling me sir on the way. This is transphobic harassment. You're a fucking bigot at work. Alright, Alex, you know what? I can't wait to this. He admits twice calling me sir. It's a slur. Do you not understand?
I never said sir.
It's like if you call the person of color the N-word. And I'm gonna hold you accountable. Cis people need to be held accountable for how they treat trans people. And I'm not gonna put up with this shit anymore.
You're crazy, bro.
You're fucking, don't call me fucking bro. Stop fucking throwing slurs at me, you fucking piece of shit.
Have a good night, sis.
No, fuck you. I ain't your sis, I ain't your fucking bro. You don't even fucking know me.
Well, I learned something today. I had no idea that sir was a slur. Had no idea. Dude's going off on the worker saying how disrespectful he is. He literally said, have a good night, sir. Which, where I come from, is being pretty polite. You know, it kind of comes with a job when you're working with the public. This guy's going off about being disrespectful while he's dropping F-bombs every other word. You know, only in this day and age could saying have a good night, sir, be viewed as something like being disrespectful. Like, how does that? It's like we're living in opposite land, I swear. So all this stuff's bad enough, but in my opinion, this is the worst example. This next clip shows a dude who's identifying as a girl, and they enjoy going out to eat in public restaurants, which is fine, but here's the problem. The guy sets up his phone, his camera, and he just waits for someone to make an innocent mistake. This is what he does every day, all day. TikTok filled up with these videos. Somebody mistakenly calls him sir, being polite. Bam, you're blasted on TikTok. And this is, like, I don't think the guy has a job because there's literally hundreds of these videos on their TikTok page. So he's just waiting for someone to make a mistake. The dude's voice is deeper than mine, so I'm sure it's a common mistake. You can put all the lipstick on that you want, dress all pretty, crimp your hair, but I'm sorry, I see a man. I see a man. I think most people would see and hear a man. You tell me. As soon as that evil S word, sir, comes out, it's, oh, I need to talk to your manager. And he gets the worker in trouble. He blasts it all over TikTok for the whole world to see, when all they were doing is trying to be polite in the first place. This dude's TikTok page, I'm telling you, hundreds upon hundreds of these videos. It's what the guy does every day for fun. Sounds like a hell of a life, you know. Maybe I ought to look into getting a job or something like that.
Looks like he's having a nice feast.
She, her.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all good.
But it was not all good.
Hi. I use she, her pronouns. I'm not sir.
Oh.
Yeah, like it's like a knife in the heart. I did specifically ask ahead of time not to be called sir. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. Okay. The sweet water starts at okay.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
It's just always like a knife. It always hurts every single time. I was wondering if there's a manager I could talk to about something that happened. Yeah, I was called sir. Did you call me sir? Hey, I just want to tell you that the person who gave me this called me sir. Called me sir. Not a sir.
Nothing like a good misgendering.
You. I'm not sir. Not sir. Not sir. But the guy who dropped the food off, he called me sir twice in a row.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah, just to get serious for a minute, I honestly think that's the whole point. I don't think that most people have any issues with people, you know, identifying as this or that, or, you know, people being, you know, whatever or whoever they want to be. I think the problem is that it's never enough to just be accepting of people. You're required to play along. That's the problem. You got no choice but to be included in their little game. You've got to accept that everyone is whoever or whatever they say that they are, and you got to play your role in their little fantasy play. Otherwise, well, wow. Remember what I said about not being able to discipline your kids? So, young lady, tell me, do you have any words prepared today?
I don't have any words prepared today. I just want you to feel our pain. I don't know if you can at this point based off your policy choices, but I have to pretend you have some form of empathy left. So I am going to spend the next minute screaming, because that is what is going on in here. That is what the transgenocide in this country, in this city, has brought me to. Imagine that! I hate this! I hate what you've done to us! I hate what you're doing to us! I hate you, Board of Supervisors! I hate you, London Breed! I hate you, Jenkins!
Hold D.A. Jenkins accountable!
Hey, man! Cowards!
You know, it can even be strange to some of these woke folks when people identify as exactly what they are and what they were born as. What a strange concept. Someone being who they actually are.
Do you identify as black? No, it's a serious question because you might not identify. Can you please put the mic? Thank you. Okay.
When I walked into the room,
I am not done with my question.
Hey, young lady.
I'm just asking you to listen to me.
And I'm about to answer your first question.
But I didn't finish my question.
Okay. Yeah, I'm black.
Remember back in the good old days, the whole golden rule, treating other people like you want to be treated, respecting others, and the fact that respect was earned? Remember all those good times? Yeah, it's good times. Nowadays, it's all about young little shit stains being entitled and more important than everybody else in the room. That's all it's about. They got no reason to respect you, regardless of who you are, and you better respect them, or else. If my parents would have caught me talking to anyone the way that young lady talked to that man, I would have spent the next hour crawling around on the floor, and not because I identify as a baby. I'd have been crawling around on the floor looking for the rest of my teeth. And you know what? That's okay, because I learned how to respect people. I grew up that way. I've got respect and courtesy and, you know, all that good stuff. Everyone should have that. It's like a human thing, you would think. All right, take a look at this little gem and try to follow along. You might want to grab a pen and a paper and take a few notes.
Love this question. So, nesting partner is a term used within non-monogamy to reference a partner that you live with. My favorite thing about that, though, is that it kind of references the fact that I don't subscribe to relationship hierarchies. So my partner, Aaron, is my nesting partner, a partner that I live with. But just because I live with Aaron does not mean that Aaron takes priority over my other relationships. So it actually gives me a term to use that's not a primary partner or anything like that, that makes Aaron sound more important than the other partnerships that I have in my life.
Yeah, you know, there's actually an older and much more universal term for that, sweetheart. It's called whore. You know, non-monogamous, I sleep with him, but he doesn't take precedence over all my other relationships. She says nesting partner, I say whore. Tomato, tomato, whatever. All right. This one's going to hit you right in the feels. This poor guy or gal or hell, I don't know, is so upset because Starbucks is making them work a whopping 25 hours a week. Whew, rough stuff. I shit you not. I've been in Walmarts, huge Walmart supercenters, where there's one register open and like 5,000 people trying to check out. No problem. This person can't handle a little Starbucks when there's only 4 people on the... Take a look.
People wonder why we need a union at Starbucks, and I am literally about to quit. Like, I don't know if I'm going to do it, but, like, I really want to. I almost walked out today, and I'm crying in the back room right now, and I almost cried on the floor. It's just... I'm like a full-time student. I get scheduled for 25 hours a week, and on weekends they schedule me the entire day, open to close. I'm on the schedule for 8.5 hours, both Saturday and Sunday. I'm like 3.5 hours into my shift. There's so many customers, and we have 4 people on the floor all day.
Here's the deal. I'm not easy to get along with, and I'm sensing you're a bit of a bitch.
Only 5 people were put on the schedule, and somebody had to call out. And there are 4 people running the whole store, and there's so many customers, and there's possibly scheduled 5 people. We need a union because this can't happen. This can't happen. We need fair scheduling. We need managers to hold themselves accountable for helping their workers. They refuse to turn mobile orders off. We need the liberty to be able to do that because there's so many mobile orders and I need to get through all of them, and then people are yelling at me because I don't have their orders ready and they don't know what to do. And a customer was misgendering me today, like really badly. I didn't have their order ready, and so they were just like talking like each other, and they're like, she's clearly incompetent. I have a full mustache and beard. What the I don't get accommodations for being neurodivergent. I don't... Like, I can't use... people get mad at me for using my sick time. I don't even know what to do anymore. I'm, like, at my wit's end with this job.
Well, that's actually a little different, actually. I mean, he's a dude and he's upset because someone called him a girl. I mean, how can anyone know for sure anymore? You're always rolling the dice. It's a crapshoot anytime you say sir or ma'am or anything like that. You can't assume anything. That's the problem. You can't rely on your sight. You can't rely on, like, the sound of their voice. All that's out the window. I mean, dude's doing an awful lot of crying, and I said this earlier, and I know I sound sexist or whatever, but if you're a dude and you don't want to be called a girl, that's not the most manly quality. Toughen up, man. Cowboy up a little bit. Knock the crying off. Act like a dude. That will help. I'm just trying to help you out here. He goes... Really? I got a full beard and mustache. Come on. First of all, that's not a full beard and mustache. Okay, let's just get that straight. And second of all, that facial hair, that might have like led us to believe he was a dude like in a former era, but not now. Don't believe me? Look at this.
Tell me what a woman is?
No, I can't. Because it's not for me to say. Womanhood looks different for everybody.
What do you define a woman as?
An adult human female.
And what does a female mean?
Well, that's
how do you define a female?
someone with female reproductive organs.
Okay.
Someone who's, here's the thing. When you're female, it goes right down to your bones, your DNA. So that's why if someone dies, we could dig up their bones 100 years from now. We have no idea what they believed in their head, but we can tell what sex they were. I have answered the question. You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
Womanhood is something that, just as Ethan explained, I cannot define because I am not
But
myself.
you used the word, so what did you mean when you said trans women are women if you don't know what it means?
Right. So here's the thing. So I do not define what a woman is because I do not identify as a woman. Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. It includes people
that describes what?
People who identify as a woman.
And you can have whatever self-perception you want, but you can't expect me to take part in that self-perception or to take part in this kind of charade, this theatrical production. You don't get your own pronouns, just like you don't get your own prepositions or your own adjectives. You know, it's like if I were to tell you, my adjectives are handsome and brilliant, and no matter whenever you're talking about me, you have to describe me as handsome and brilliant because that's how I identify. It makes no sense. You don't get your own pronouns. That's grammar. That's language.
Yes, thank God. Voice of reason. You can't just decide you're going to rewrite the English language and expect everybody else to just go along with it. And once again, I truly believe, I really do believe this, that like 95% of the people on this planet, they probably don't have any issues with anybody identifying as whatever or whoever they want to identify as. You use all the pronouns that you want to use to describe yourself, that's fine. The issue is when you insist that everyone else play along, or else we'll be canceled, labeled as awful people, transphobic, white supremacist, yada, yada, yada. It's exhausting, and it doesn't make me a bad person because my beliefs are a little different than yours. It doesn't. Everyone's different, especially when personally I have no issues with whatever or whoever you want to be in your own life, as long as you allow me to do the same thing. Meaning that if you're gay, no problem. Straight, no problem. You like everybody, both, no problem. Not a problem at all. If you were born with a dick, you're a guy. If you were born with a vagina, you're a girl. You can want to be what you aren't all day long, or you could save up your money and have the surgery, make it official. Do your thing. That's your business. It simply isn't mine. Here's the last video. It's probably the longest one, but it's worth the watch, trust me. So here's a medical doctor. He was actually fired for saying that there are only two genders. Now, he's a doctor. He's all about science, and he's a Christian. He says there's only two genders. Bam. Loses his job because everybody's woke, and if you're not on the woke train, well, you're canceled. And notice how the media here in this little TV show is making him out to be such a monster. Because after all, they're woke, so they're right, right?
Explain to us why you have these views, David, because you have a very deep religious belief.
Well, I do. I don't think there's any big deal here. Most of humanity throughout most of history have believed this, believed it on the basis of scientific evidence, believed it on the basis of how do we assign gender to people? When I use the word gender, I use it in the same as sex, assigned at birth. And yes, you mentioned my religious views. I'm a Bible-believing Christian. I believe that God made mankind male and female. And I believe that this is extremely important to us as a nation, as a generation, that we uphold this truth.
But Dr. Could I just say, this truth, whatever you deem to be the truth or whatever, in today's world, this ain't going to change. Right? It's not going to change. You've lost a job over all of this. Why don't you, let's start with the easiest option first. Why don't you just go, yeah, whatever, you mightn't believe it or not, but why don't you just tick a box and save your job?
Well, first of all, it would be dishonest for me to do that. I would be, and lying is sinful. It would be sinful before God. And secondly, it's the same thing, isn't it? I do not believe it. And if we have no doctors...
Do you medically not believe it?
I medically not believe it. If we have no doctors or nurses with consciences anymore, anything can happen. We have to be allowed to have a conscience when we work as doctors and nurses, even if we disagree with each other on some things.
What about somebody who has had the full transgender surgery and believes that they have changed their sex, maybe from male to female, female to male, and they are living as that person?
They have the right to
Would
tell
you
me
still not call them by the gender that they prefer?
They have the right to call themselves by whichever gender they wish, but as a Christian, I believe that gender is assigned at birth and that God made them male and female and that this cannot be changed.
Monroe, assigned at birth, you were assigned a gender at birth, but you believed that was the wrong gender, right? So Monroe, doctor, is the person she is today, but on, I presume, your birth certificate, it says you are a different gender.
Yes.
Yes. Now, doctor, do you have a problem with that? Monroe is comfortable in her own skin, who she is, what she is. Would you actually say to her, I don't recognize that.
Can I actually just say surgery doesn't actually have a bearing on how far someone is with their transition. You can be trans and have not even transitioned yet, and that's actually the most crucial point.
So the minute
when people
you
are their
decide,
most vulnerable and they need to be believed.
More this is where it becomes very complicated, very confusing, and actually I think perhaps makes it easier for the doctor, because he's actually saying if physically you are...
But that is his job to help people, and he's not doing his job by not helping people.
There's never been anybody that I've refused to help, ever, not once.
Well, we're talking potentially, aren't we?
So we have a situation here, take Facebook, where we have 78 genders now, I'm told. Now, when gender becomes indeterminate, you can have 7 billion genders. Or you can decide, or you can believe that gender is assigned at birth. Now, if gender is assigned at birth, it follows automatically that gender cannot change. It cannot change. It's impossible.
Gender identity. You're confusing that with sex.
So you're talking medically and physically.
I'm talking medically and physically as well. It's recognised within medical practitioners that this is the process and this is how you help trans people. And this guy is saying, no, I'm not going to help people because I don't want to refer to them how they are because of my religious beliefs. If this is his religious beliefs, then he should not be in the field, and he was right to lose his job.
You can't write off Christianity or religion just like that.
I can. Any religion. I'm not writing off Christianity. I'm writing off religion if that's going to stop you from helping people. You're a public servant.
So
working for the NHS of taxpayers' money, you should be helping people, not using your own beliefs to play God, essentially.
If you remove everybody like me from the NHS, there'll be no NHS left.
I'm not talking. You can have your own beliefs, but don't impose that on other people.
Okay, but we have to have people with belief, and they have to be able to hold that belief.
Let me
say what that belief is in the NHS.
Let's talk
about
practicalities.
I'm not saying that you can't be a Christian. I'm talking about you imposing that and affecting people that are highly vulnerable and need your help.
Okay, they may be highly vulnerable, they may be in lots of situations that they don't want to be in.
84% of young trans people are either self-harming or have attempted suicide.
What he's saying is, I suppose there has to be some order to things, and when you look back, I mean, how does genealogy continue? How do records be kept when someone...
We're talking about gender identity, we're not talking about biological sex.
Gender and sex are the same.
They're not the same, and that's widely accepted.
We're living in a gender-confused generation. Our children in our schools are being moved into a gender confusion situation. Our parents need to stand up on this. Our parents need to defend their children. We are in a situation where we are completely changing the society in which we live.
But we're not dealing with confusion. It's not happening, David, that you can't stop it. That's just the world changing.
No, it's
being driven. People are becoming more accepting of how people feel.
Well, that's like something out of George Orwell's 94. This is the way it's always been, but it's not. Throughout history, find anywhere in Christian history other than today when any Christian believe this.
You can believe it yourself. You can believe it yourself, but don't impose that on other people.
Off Christianity.
No, I'm not writing off Christianity. You can practice Christianity on your own time. You cannot be a public servant
from your point where men and women do not have a conscience. We have to have a conscience to practice medicine.
No.
Okay.
You can have a conscience, but you also signed an practice of ethics
is this something
serve people and not just the ones you choose.
Monroe, please, is this based purely on a religious belief as opposed to a scientific
it's bigotry.
belief?
Thank you. By God, I cannot go along with that.
Well, it is. It's bigotry.
Thank you very much.
We'll give you the last word.
Sorry, I've lost the track. Is it science? I believe that science is I believe that when the science I studied at primary school on anatomy was very clear. The science I studied on genetics was very clear. Yes, but the anatomy hasn't changed and the genetics haven't changed.
Society has.
Can you say hypocrite? The blonde person, whatever you want to call the blonde, says the doctor is trying to play God, and that's wrong. Trying to play God. What exactly is it then when you're born as one sex or one gender and decide you're going to be another? Isn't that playing God too? They also say that they can completely write off Christianity. It's a religion that's been around for like literally thousands of years, but they can write it off all because they believe this new little trend is way more important somehow. And the best part of the whole thing is this. Did you notice how many times the blonde person kept saying, you can believe whatever you want, just don't impose it on other people? I'll repeat that. The transgender person said, you can believe what you want, but don't impose it on other people. Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? I'd say that's a good place to stop for now. Join me on the next episode. We're going to get into the transgenders and pro sports, and unfortunately, the young children being exposed to all this crazy transgender and sexuality madness before they even know their ABCs. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe if you will. That really helps us out if you haven't already. And feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. Chime in with your opinion about all this fun stuff. Thanks for joining me in the Rawk Rant. I'm Ryan King. We'll see you next time.